Hello, 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 and welcome to Sandra's Authors Forum, where everybody is important. I am so honored that you're here tonight. I just don't know what to do. I want you to do me a huge favor and go tell a friend to tell a friend that Sandra's Authors Forum is on tonight. We have an amazing author. His name is Mr. Willy, and this is his book. The title is amazing. When light fades away, hope remains. I know many of you all during this season, you're looking for hope. Well, tonight, we're going to go through this book with a fine tooth comb, and I hope and pray you find something that will inspire you to keep going. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Um, I just want to share with the audience a little bit about who you are.
Sure.
Um, and you'll see in the comment section, you'll be able to see a little bit about this author. It's the back of his book. It reads, "Journeying through the corridors of life, particularly when faced with adversities. We find ourselves wondering if life is worthwhile. We tend to lose hope, and the future becomes blurry, leading to an even difficult season of our life. However, when these adversities are approached from the enlightened posture and we find the courage to pick up our pieces, they become strong foundations on which we stand to illuminate the path ahead." I'm telling you, this was brilliant for me. See, you dedicated this book to your family, and we're going to delve right in. Congratulations on uh, this amazing book. I know it's a great feat. I know you didn't intend on writing such a powerful book, but God had his way, and I am elated about it. Thank you, Karen, for introducing me to this young man, and I appreciate you. We're going to put the link to purchase on the screen, and then we're going to delve in. All right. Tell us the title of your book. Tell us a bit about your book and what inspired you to write such a powerful book.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. What an introduction. I'm so thrilled. I'm so happy and humbled at the same time to be chatting with you. You mentioned it, how God orchestrates things, and through connection, you are connected to another person. So I'm grateful and thank you for hosting me. Let me use this opportunity to say thank you to our sister Karen Monroe, who is a wonderful person. Um, so the title of this book is "When Light Fades Away, Hope Remains." Um, this title itself embodies really a compendium of so many things that we can describe. So this is a journey that starts from a very humble beginnings, and it navigates through what you call different experiences of life, be it love, loss, grief, uh, but more importantly, the courage to pick up your pieces and continue living the life. I have a saying in this book that pain or any adversity we face does not really diminish as time passes. Rather, life expands around that, and we find courage to continue living. So, in this book, as I said in the back cover, I am approaching it from an enlightened posture, acknowledging the existence of the adversities, but also really testifying that there is a hope that remains when we decide to dare to do things that we either used to do or things we haven't even tried. So this is a book, a life story of myself, a young man who started a journey back in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which used to be Zaire, and journeyed through life, through different countries, different continents, different experiences, and was fortunate enough to know what love is when we talk about love, but also who has received what I call the true light, which without, I don't think I could have recognized the little lights we encounter through human interaction, through experiences, and through life itself. So I figured the only way to summarize this rich, painful, but also joyful journey I
Mhm.
call life. The easiest way and the simple way to put it was to summarize in a few pages of this book: When light fades away, hope remains.
Wow, that is brilliant. So, uh, how long did it take you to write this book?
That's a great question. uh, I think if you look at what I'm discussing, this is a life journey, but deciding to put uh, the ink on the paper, it took me about 2 months. I started writing, if I remember the date correctly, it was March 8th this year. And that's when I sat down and really started pouring my ideas on the pages of this book.
Mhm.
And then after that, you go through reviews and revisions. Let's say it's taken approximately 6 months from the start to publishing.
Wow, that someone said that's very quick. I
Thank you.
know. Yeah, I've written plenty of books, and some of them are quick, and some of them take a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
So there you go. We have an audience here, and if you would like your comments to be on screen, there is a link on the screen. Go ahead and click that and give Facebook permission so we can have your name on. Thank you. All right. So our first conversation will be about chapter one, Journey to My Light.
Yes.
And part one is Journey to My Light, Humble Beginnings. And then chapter two is Journey to My Light. Will you please delve into the conversation about this? We want to know, first of all, where you were born. We're going to start from the beginning and we're going to ease our way through this. Like, we're going to navigate through this maze because this right here is some juicy stuff. I was reading this book. I sat down, let me tell you. I'm reading this book after a long day, and my daughter is in my room with me, and I'm reading out loud. All right. I'm just going to put it to the audience like this. I get to page 57 and I throw the book down. I throw it down because I'm frustrated, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing story. I cannot keep reading this story because so much is happening. I feel sorry for the people in the story. My emotions are on a level in which I can't even contain. I don't know what to do with myself. And it's not even me living the story, right? So please help the audience find out a little bit about why they should purchase this book and purchase it right now.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. Um, So this, I want to start with again what I said in the back cover of this book.
Mhm.
When adversities are approached from an enlightened posture, they are really foundation on which we build our strong and fulfilled life, if I'm allowed to use that word. So this is a story that starts in a very humble beginning, what North American people would call village, but not at the standard of North America village, right? What we call village here is not really what I know as a village, where I grew up, where I saw light. So I was born in the current Democratic Republic of Congo. Back then was Zaire. I was born in 80s, and I grew up in a very loving family. Unfortunately, I lost my dad when I was only 2, so I don't have much of memories about my dad. But the memories I have are story told in the family gathering, but also in the community because of who he was. He happened to be one of the early converts to Christianity, and he was a pastor of a church. He was leading the church in our village. So I grew up in this community that I describe as a pure community, a pure in the sense that I knew every parent as my parent. I would I do describe a few stories. Apologies, I have been coughing. If I cough, I apologize for that. So my life really begins in a very humble beginnings where we didn't have much. I've seen TV when I was around 14 years old. We didn't have internet, we didn't have running water, we didn't have electricity. We were in very simple houses, which are really huts. And but this was a sweet and beautiful life to live because I would play in the nature without worrying about anything, because anyone would treat me with respect and love. But somewhere around age 9, 10, my life shifted. The political aspect in the country and the dynamics changed. And then I'm exposed to adversities that any child should not be exposed to. I'm seeing this hatred and discrimination against my people, my community, and I don't understand what this is all about. But I see things happening. But then I'm conflicted because elderly people are not talking about them, or they are not explaining in the name of keeping us safe as children, right? They have to keep that pure community, that society, that cohesion in the community going on, but they're suffering. They know what is happening, but they keep protecting children. Then I'm accounting few events that I do recall that happened to me when I was between 10 and 12, 13. Really tragic and traumatizing events. But then those events, I don't want to go into details of them, but one of them is for the first time when I'm almost 14, I hear a sound of a gun for the very first time. And I don't know why this is happening. And the simple reason behind is because uh, the soldiers are visiting our our village, so to say, for lack of a better term,
Mm-hmm.
to arrest my brother because he's been to Rwanda. He's visited a country. Just imagine, Sandra, you are in the US, you cross the border, you do your things here in Canada, and then you go back. The next day, you have a whole army going after you for the simple reason you've been to Canada. At that age, I don't understand
Right.
why that is happening. And as a child, I'm sent out to go and wake up my other brother because these soldiers have come early in the morning, around 5. They're searching the house, they can't find him. So I have to go and alert, wake up my other brother, telling them things are happening here. So for the very first time, I hear gunshots 14 times. I'm traumatized. I don't know what to do. The whole village is awakened by those sounds. So those are memories that really impacted my life, but I never understood the reasoning behind. Now, fast forward, we moved to Rwanda, and this happens after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis. This country has been devastated. More than 1 million people have been killed for the simple reason because they are Tutsis. They were being they have been created as such, right? And they're just being killed because of who they are. We go to that country, and this is the contrast I'm living, right?
Mhm.
From the community I grew up in, loving, well nurtured, we are hated, we are discriminated, we are tortured. We move to this new country that has been completely destroyed. But when I get there,
Mhm.
the very first image I have of what I call military
Mhm.
are loving people, welcoming people. For the very first time, a military personnel hugs me.
Mm.
I just crossed the border where we have been uh, almost killed, to say the least. They have taken all we had, including books, textbooks. I remember my brother had a textbook, and that book was taken from him that he couldn't cross over. And then we crossed the border a few meters. There are these young men who had just stopped the genocide, are welcoming us, and they hug me. I'm leaving this dilemma. How do you explain that one side I lived a pure community, but then it turned against the military, and the political aspect of the country has turned against us. And I crossed the border, a country that has seen the worst tragedy of the 21st century, but I'm meeting military personnel who are so loving and acting in a human way. I'm conflicted here. But
Mhm.
then this gives me a sense of belonging. I feel welcomed. I'm very young, not knowing much, not knowing even what to ask, but I feel like this time I feel at home. I'm accepted. Even the military, they're speaking in the language I can understand. They are welcoming. I can go to them and ask questions. So this is what chapter one is about. I'm becoming an adolescent. I'm making sense of life. I have my first crushes. I'm at high school. Life is good. And through that, I find myself again traveling, going to Europe, which is the chapter two I talk about to my journey to light. And I find my excuse me, I find myself in this new country, the Netherlands, a country that I've never seen before, a country that I've learned about only in history books and geography,
Right. Yeah.
country that I didn't know that there were other languages from, excuse me for the terminology, or the Caucasian people I've seen in my life. They either spoke English or French.
Mm.
Now I'm in this new country with a completely different language I've never heard of, Dutch, right?
Wow.
And I'm starting all over. I'm claiming asylum. I go through the process. I have this dream because I want to change my family tree. I want to give my mother, who's uh, done so much, I want to give back, and I have a dream to pursue my study, right? So little did I know that this journey that took me to this new land for a better future will lead me to one of the most important encounters of my life under the heavens. That's where I would meet this impactful person that has ever come into my life, a young lady who is beyond what I could describe, be it physical beauty, but most importantly, the inner beauty.
Mm.
uh, Unexpectedly, I meet this wonderful lady and we fall in love. So this is chapter 2, how these previous events, which are adversity to some extent, were really building a foundation that would lead me to discovering what I call my light, the love of my life, which will eventually seemingly fade away, but again, find hope to continue to live. I will stop there and let you chime in.
All right, so let's talk about when you're asleep in the bed, you're a young boy, your mom and your older brothers are not there, and you are awakened out of a deep sleep with a torch in your face.
Yes.
I can't get that image out of my mind. And so, my question to you is, how did you do it? How did you make it through? And that was, I believe, the first entry of trauma for your life. Many of us in the audience, I don't know if we can go back to our first entry of trauma. If you can, please comment on the show tonight. Do you remember what happened to you, when it happened to you, and has it still lingered on? Well, Willie is going to tell us about his thoughts during that moment of waking up to the unexpected.
Yeah. This is around, I think I was 10 years old. After a long day, I've been to school. By the way, when I was growing up at age 6, 5, 6, um, as I was starting school, my main duty as a young boy was looking after cows, right? Milking cows in the morning, make sure that the cows are shedded. After that, we go to school, we do our school day, and then we go back, we check on cows again, we make sure they are fed, and then after that, it's really playing in the nature, playing soccer, what we call football.
Yes.
In Europe and Africa, not the American football, but soccer. So this is after a long day. We've been playful and really enjoyed. We go back home and it's dinner time, shower. You are knocked off as a 10-year-old, 9. Your energy has been depleted to
That's
play.
always good for the parents, you know.
Exactly. uh, so I'm knocked off. We are in bed, and I do remember one of my sister-in-law was sleeping in our house because her husband, if my memory really recalls well, he was either traveling or he had gone far in the city for university education, which was really common. Again, this sounds from North American standard. This sounds like a fiction movie, but this is a real story, and it's not my story only. It's a story that has been lived by many. So this evening, we're sleeping in deep sleep, somewhere in the middle of the night. Might have been past midnight, I don't know, but it was really late in the night. I'm awakened by a sound of things and people yelling in different language. They were speaking in Swahili and Lingala, which were languages used by military personnel. And they are taking everything, they, from utensils, anything that is not move anything in the house, it's being grabbed. And they're yelling, where the men, they can't find the men in the house. So I was 10 and my young brother was maybe uh, 7, 8, and my mom is there. She's speechless, powerless. She can't do much. And then as they continue searching, so I'm in the room with my brother. I'm awakened by this sound, and there's a torch really in my face that I can't see. I don't see the person behind. Can hear the voice, but the torch is really under my face. Confused. I don't know what to say. Shaking. I can't cry. I don't know if
Mm,
my mother is there. I don't know if my mother has been taken, but there are sounds everywhere. So in different rooms, there are people, they're grabbing whatever they could grab. And then the last thing I do remember, I see one of the men that were in the house, those military. He lights a match and puts it on me here. It's really right here. If you look close, I have a scar. And then they leave the house.
mm,
Um, Only then, that's when I saw my mom running, just coming to check on her boys, and she grabs me, she hugs me. Only then I could cry, but I
mhm,
didn't know what to say and what to do. She didn't know either. And my sister-in-law, she's shaking on the ground. She doesn't know what just happened. So they leave the home. I don't know if they went to other houses and they did the same. I can't recall. But then my mother grabs me. She tries to console, to comfort me and my young brother, and we fall asleep. But that memory stuck in my mind. And I'm like, Mom, what just happened? What did we do? She's like, we don't know, but what's going on, because they couldn't find um, adult boys or men. They just had to do something, right? So the next morning, the whole village awakes to that. There have been some men who have been taken captive, and later on they will have to pay sort of ransom to get them back. But it was custom back then, regime of Mobutu. He was not paying the military personnel, so they would live on, plundering and getting whatever they get, and then whatever they get from the village, they have to find people who would carry that up until to the next village or the next destination, and then they would release them. I think there is another account I narrate in the book when I was again taken hostage with my uncle, and we walked for maybe 20 miles. It's around 25 kilometer in the night, back and forth. So these are tragic events that happened, that at that age, I really did not know why it was happening. Up until now, I don't know the reasoning behind, but what I know is it's because of bad politics and the discrimination that had spilled over from what happened in Rwanda in 1994. So the genociders had crossed the border, and the regime of Mobutu welcomed them, and they were doing the same thing that they had done in Rwanda. They wanted to eradicate all Tutsi people in Congo as well, which would lead later on to the conflicts that have been ongoing in Congo. So, in nutshell, that is the memory, the first really tragic trauma event I've seen coming from those who were supposed to protect me and my people, but unfortunately did not. And eventually, many people have died. There are many things I'm not really touching in the book, because I did not want this personal story to become political or any sort of argument around what happens around the politics and dynamics. But these are events lived by me,
mhm,
and it's my own story. It's what I experienced. But again, to me, all those adversities, I think, and I tend to believe, were preparing me to the life I would live even now.
even now, which leads us to talking about the next few chapters. Finding my light, living with Estelle, my light, chapter 3, a father to daughter, chapter 4, light journey to final and new destination. Now, will you please introduce Estelle, which is my middle name, uh, to the world? I want you to bring her alive in a way that only you can do.
Hmm. I think that's the one of the hardest tasks I've been asked. So Estelle is the love of my life, the mother of my children, the destiny helper of
Mm,
my life, the anchor on which I stood and discovered my purpose. Estelle is the person who looked into my eye and face to face and told me affirmatively that I trust and I believe in you. You can. So, this is the mysterious person I met through a friend, a casual conversation between boys, between boys talking about our days, and he released something and describes a young lady out of the norm, extraordinary. As he describes this young lady, something rests in my heart. I didn't plan, I didn't know where it came, and I just feel like I'm convinced this is the person I'm going to marry. And I'm only 22.
22. Never met her.
Never met,
Only heard your friend
never.
talking to you. That is so amazing because many men right now are in relationships with women that they see every day and interact with every day. And still they don't feel that pull to or that call to action. You're 22, you never met this young lady, you're only hearing your friend talking and describing her, and you said within yourself, this is going to be my wife. I'm going to marry this woman that he's talking about.
Definitely,
Continue.
definitely. And then as the conversation goes on, I tell my two friends, hey guys, this is going to be my wife. They make a joke, we joke about it, they think you crazy. Because I'm young, the youngest of the two, they're like, you know. But in the end, we conclude saying, hey, young man, if what you said is really serious, we will support you. So fast forward, I speak to Estelle for the very first time on the phone of my friend who had introduced. They're together, and then we spoke, and I was like, okay, hearing her voice gives me goosebumps. And I'm like, when will I see this wonderful lady? Fast forward June 5th, 2004. I'm traveling from north of the Netherlands. It's 2 hour, excuse me, train ride. I'm with my brother John, a friend. Anyway, if you're following, hi. And we go to this African church gathering in somewhere in the middle of the Netherlands. For the first time, I'm nervous. I don't know what I will say. I don't know how she looks like. I've never seen her. We've spoken on the phone, and I'm meeting Estelle for the first time. Plus, I have been asked to perform a song, so you can feel the tension, right? You're going to sing, and Estelle will be looking at you. How are you going to be even able to sing? So I
Right.
pull my guitar and I sing. Remember singing the song by Lenny Leblanc, Above All, and I pull my last energy in that song. So during the service, I have already spotted, I know who Estelle is. And then, excuse me, after the service, we introduce each other. Hey, are you It's you, Estelle. It's you, Willy. This is the first time I meet this young lady, and we chatted a little bit. We are in the group of many young people. There were like around 300 people in that event. So we all walk towards the train station. We depart. She lived in the south. I lived in the north. So as we departed, I promised her, as soon as I get home, I will give you a call.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Was she all that you expected her to be?
She was way beyond what I expected her to be, because the way she spoke, the way she looked at you, the way she listened just drew you in. And that wasn't for me, not only me, it was to anyone who ever came across Estelle. She was this person, and I'm describing it in the book as well, that everyone thought was her best friend. Everyone who called Estelle a friend thought that they were the best friend. So I'm out of my mind, if I can say.
Mesmerized.
I'm mesmerized, and we ride back, John and myself. I'm really sorry for the cough.
No worries.
And 2 hours back, riding, and we're talking only about Estelle. And I want the conversation to continue. I want to talk about Estelle only. So I get home, grab dinner quickly, then I sat in my one bedroom studio. I picked the phone and called Estelle. That evening, I uh, I broke the ice. And I told her, I want you to be my wife.
What? And her response was,
Her response, first of all, she joked, and then she thought, okay, hey, this guy is serious. And then she paused and said, thank you for expressing yourself. Give me some time to pray about it, and I will get back to you.
"Mm."
To which I said, please take all your time. As, as long as you allow me to continue talking to you. That was a start of a journey that, to me, were the best years of my life so far, which will lead us to marriage 5 years after.
Wait a minute, because she made you promise her. There's a lot of promising going on between the pages, you all, and you have to get this book, because if you don't, you're going to really miss out on wisdom and knowledge between the pages. She, as a young lady, understood his passion for her. She didn't break his heart. She didn't say no. She said, give me a little bit of time and I will return with my answer. Well, as I read, um, you thought it was going to be like 6 months and then you weren't going to get married. You
Correct.
just told me 5 years. So explain to the audience what took so long between two people who had fallen in love with each other.
Yeah. So 3 months down the road, we are talking every day. We're texting. We're using Messenger. This is pre Facebook, pre WhatsApp, pre FaceTime.
FaceTime. Yeah.
But there was a Yahoo Messenger and Hotmail Messenger, if I remember. Uh, so we're texting through messengers, we're calling, and almost every day. I mean, every day. And I do remember one day I purposely restrained myself and I said, I'm not going to call her, I'm not going to text her.
Mm.
Because I had not yet formally said yes, but the tendency I felt like we're moving towards somewhere. And the next morning, early in the morning, around 8, she calls me and she's like, "Are you well?"
Mm,
I said, "I'm well. How are you?" A very short call. And then later on, she would reveal that she could not sleep because I had not spoken to her that day.
mhm.
3 months down the road, so that is in September, um, she calls me and she tells me, "Yes, I accept to be your wife, but under conditions. Condition one, we are not going to reveal our relationship yet up until we understand and we know what we are doing.
Wow.
Only our parents are entitled to know because, and there is a sub condition there. If for whatever reasons, my father, especially because she had a very close relationship with her father, if my mother or my father do not approve of this relationship, I'm sorry, I won't continue.
Wow.
Second,
Let's stop. Let's pause because a lot of children these days, they don't believe in that concept. Now, when I was getting married, oh, my parents had to sanction who I was going to talk to. You know, there were chaperones and there was a whole lot of things involved in that. We didn't just hook up with someone
mhm,
and have an affair or a relationship and our parents didn't know anything about it. This tells you the type of individual she was, right? So it speaks to her character already.
yes,
All right, go ahead.
yes. Um, So maybe going back, I see a question. If I asked her to marry me like that, it
Yes,
wasn't really that raw, and it was. I asked her to be with me for life. I'm not into this just for casual relationship. I don't want you to be my girlfriend. I want you to be with me for life.
for life.
So fast forward, so she gives me that those two conditions. Condition three is, as long as we date before marriage, we are not going to meet in private. We will meet in an open space.
Hmm.
Make sure we guard ourselves, but also our Christian value. And she asks me a question: "Are you okay with those conditions?" And then I said, "Yes, I am." And then she goes, "You have my word. I will be your wife if God wants."
I love her already. Like she knew what she wanted. She knew her tolerations and she laid it out. She wasn't afraid to lay it out. Audience, what were your steps before marriage? What did you do before you took hand in marriage? I just want to speak to her character again. She was an honorable young lady. She respected her parents, she honored them, and she let you know where she stood. Which I want to speak to the audience tonight, to the young ladies, not to feel pressure, you know, um, that you can speak to your significant other and express your desires and your wants and have them to make promises to you. Because I noticed in the book, she asked you for certain things. She said, and then she told you, if my mom and dad does not agree with you, I will not marry you. She told you that right off the cuff.
Correct.
That was a strong individual.
She was.
Wow.
She was. She had principles she lived by, and she never compromised on any.
I love it.
So those were the first guiding principles we put together. And so we started dating, so to say, and we we really did not expect it to take 5 years.
Right.
Um, 6 months passed. I believe it was after 6 months or a year or so. Um, Her permanent residence um, expires in the Netherlands, so she applied for a renewal, and then it takes few months, becomes a year, and as time passes, we are like, oh hey, what are we going to do? We want to go back home and get married in the presence of our families, get their blessings. But it takes 1 year, takes 2 years, takes 3 years, takes 4 years, takes 5 years, and we then we then prayed and decided, felt it was time. We can't wait without knowing when this will happen. So we decide to do our wedding in the Netherlands.
Mm.
That time, we of course invited our families. They came over. We had a perfect wedding, really, in 2009, October. Happily married. I had graduated. I have masters in international economics and business. I've started working. So we are in marriage, happy, and I'm finally get to be with the dream of my life. I get to be with my light as my other half. 6 months after, 6 months after, we're in.
Wait a minute. I want you to explain to the audience what that meant to you. What did that mean that you had just crossed over a huge bridge and now tap into those emotions? You didn't grow up with your father, you never felt connected. Now you are married to the love of your life. And how does Willie feel?
Yeah. Oh, so I'm going in. Maybe I should go back even in falling in love and being in love relationship with Estelle. Remember, my background is from a village. I really did not have the modern way of doing things. I've seen TV when I was 14, I think, 13, 14. I've seen light and running water around that age. And I'm dating this wonderful lady who was born, grown in well-off family. She's seen, she's had all you can think of. She's been loved. I've been loved, but in a different way. My love is more um, in not expressive, not affirmative. And this is a lady who grew up in the city. She grew up in a family with both parents, and she knows many things that I don't know. Um, and she's the first person who sees what I can, who sees the man I will be or I can become. And
Mm.
she does speak it into me.
Wow.
She tells me that she believes in me. She tells me that I can do it. Even I remember when I was writing my thesis, we're still dating. she would she would check in and asks me, tell me what you're writing about, present your ideas, talk about it. And then
Mm.
even subjects she did not understand, she
Mm-hmm.
just commends me and empowers me and tells me how wonderful, how powerful, how smart, how knowledgeable I am. So this young lady is pulling out the potential within. She's pulling out that man that was dormant. She's pulling out that figure of a future husband and a
Mm.
future parent, father to her child and children, that no other person has ever done. So now it's time to leave all that in all intimacy. I'm on the moon every day. I was unstoppable.
Mm.
From the day I married Estelle, of course, from the day I met her, but from the day I married her, I became unstoppable. Regardless of what was going around, regardless of adversities, which uh, we will continue to discuss, whether we had much or not, financially, possession wise, I felt I could do anything and everything.
That is so important that you mentioned that because that's what men need. It seems like they need a push. You know, we grew up with our forefathers, and my dad was a go getter. Um, I'm sure my mom coaxed him, you know, together they were a unit, beautiful unit. But what it seems to me today, we're lacking that backbone, the
Mhm.
one that's going to push the husband, because sometimes men don't feel like doing, you know, and they do need that push. And so I commend her for pushing you. And now you have completed your study. So let's rush through this because time is going quickly, right? So she was in school, you were in school, all right? And then something happened where she could no longer go to school. What happened?
So the permanent residency is not renewed. So she can't continue school because her scholarship is also kind of altered. She has to wait up until she would get her residency renewed. And this takes years, right?
Wow.
So it leads to to us getting married. And 6 months after that, we get a letter in the mail that she has to leave the country. I believe it was in few days. I don't remember the exact days. I think it was about maybe 4 weeks. If she does not willingly leave, she will be forcefully deported. This is something we receive 6 months after our marriage. I'm working, we are well off, and I am Dutch citizen. We've been married by law and by church. And we received this mail from immigration that she has to leave the country. I remember she was there. I was reading the mail, and she's quiet. She looks at me and she says, "Let me say a prayer." She
Mm,
says a prayer, and then she asks me, "So, what are we going to do?" They said, "Okay, let me call the lawyer." Called the lawyer. We go to her office in Amsterdam, where she explains, well, what what that mail means, what we have to do, what are the options we have, and uh, what were my thoughts when reading the the letter. Then, only then, was the very first time I felt incapable.
mm,
That was the very first time I felt unable to give my wife anything in my power. That was the very first time I felt like the future of my family and my life was dependent on someone's decision out there. So
wow.
I felt incapable. So we went, we sit with the lawyer. She explains what we can do, the options. Really were two viable options. Option one was she goes back to Rwanda, and we have to file a sponsorship process, and it would take however long the immigration decides to take. So, and that would mean we are separated, right? Whether it's for a month, 2 months, 5 years, or I don't know how long. The second option was in because Europe is because of the union, right? European citizen can move from one country to another and find a job there. If you move to a different country and you have a job, so your family can come along and you all get a sort of a green card residence permit in that country. So did you stay stuck in that feeling of helplessness, or did you? Yeah. So I'm getting the idea. So after explaining those options, I tell the lawyer, I will not allow anyone or any government to separate me with my love if I have other options.
Mm.
So we will move to a different country. We decided the next few days, we packed our luggages, drove to Belgium.
Mm.
I did not know many people there. I knew few people who lived there. It's 2 hour drive. We stayed with a friend who was living there for a few weeks, a month, I believe. Had to find an apartment. Miraculously, I found an apartment. Didn't have a job. Um, so this landlord, I tell him, this is me. I don't have a job yet. I'm qualified. I'm looking for a job, but I can pay you the first. I think he even asked me 3 months or so. I had cash. I paid up front. And he said, I believe, I trust you. You will be a good tenant. So we get our new apartment. We started from scratch. We started from scratch. And do I continue or do I stop there?
Yes. So, so let's fast forward. You escaped with your life. You made some tough decisions because the authorities were saying that even though you're married, your wife is going to have to go back to the Netherlands where she's from, right? Right.
Yeah.
And so you had to go to an attorney. You had to find a plan for your family. I love the strategic planning that you all did together. And one of the audience members said, it's amazing that her first instinct was prayer. And you're going to learn about Estelle going forward. Yes, everything she did before she did it, she prayed. She called the family together. She called the children together, the husband together. Before they went to bed at night, that's what they did. They prayed. So her faith was so instrumental in her life and in everything that she did. All right, so let's jump because she all she wanted in life mostly was to receive her degree.
Yeah.
Everything seems like it came against her. She was not going to get her degree because she had um, just so many issues going on, but she remained calm. She remained calm. And that's why you call her your light. Because even though you're a man, you're her husband, you need to have the answers. You were very concerned. You were upset. You were going through various emotions, right? And so now she's saying, let's pray. You prayed, you made the decision to move to Belgium, 2 hours away, uproot everything, live with a friend, you and your new wife. That's crazy. All right. And now you find an apartment. You tell the landlord, I don't have a job. He tells you other people are looking at this property, but there's something about you. I'm going to believe in you. I think God is connecting dots here. He's showing you that you have everything that you need with inside you to make things happen, even in the face of adversity. And so you get your place. You don't have a job right away, but God allows you to get a job. Now you're working, you're happy, everything is going good, and you receive the news. How did she tell you about the news? I love this part.
Oh, Sandra, you've read everything.
I read it. I read it. I was so engulfed in this book. I'm telling you, you got to go get this book, you all.
Yeah,
It is a good, excellent read. I mean, I highly recommend this book. All right.
thank you so much. So before I go into there, so remember my background again, growing without a father. I have this fear within that has been haunting me. I'm afraid of becoming a father because I don't know how to be a father because I've never seen anyone in the house. Yes, I was in this loving community. I have my elder brothers, but they were young as well when our father passed. And so I have this fear within me, really that haunted me for life, afraid to be a father. And we would talk about it with Estelle, and again she would look at me and say, I am so proud that you will be the father of my children. But somehow I'm like, yeah, I get it, but you know. So this evening I'm from work and I come. Uh, she welcomes me, which was as usual, but this time she's well dressed. She's in a dress, and there are candles everywhere in the living. The table is ready, dinner, and then she takes my backpack and says, uh, "Go to the room, take a shower, change, and then come back." And I'm like, "What's going on here? Who's visiting?" So I went to the room, took a quick shower, and then she had already prepared what I would put on, dress up, and then come back, sit at the table, and then we say a prayer before dinner, and then she hands an envelope to me. I'm like, what's going on here? I didn't expect what she was going to tell me. And then I opened the envelope. It was, sorry, it was a very short sentence. You're becoming a father. Oh my goodness. I remember feeling like I had a heavy weight on my shoulder that just dropped.
Wow.
The fear that I had vanished like instantly. I felt the joy I had never experienced. I felt the sense of responsibility and accountability that I did not have before. I
Wow.
felt respect and love for Estelle that I did not, or I had not felt, because she just transitioned me. She shifted my perspective, my way of thinking and looking at life
Mm.
in just that simple announcement that you becoming a father. So it really turned me upside and down, and it shifted my whole perspective. And yeah, what followed is is a story in itself.
So the joy, you're on the cloud nine, you're ecstatic, your love increases, your responsibility increases. Everything is at a height like you could never believe.
Correct.
And then you're going to a wedding. One of your friends is getting married, and
Yeah.
you're packing up to leave that day. And all of a sudden, she tells you, "Hey, I'm having an unusual pain."
Yes.
You say to her, "Well, let's pack up. The doctor's office is on the way. We'll stop by there on the way to see and make sure everything is all right." You go to the doctor's office. Take over.
We get to the to doctor's office, and so the pain has been increasing, and this is like 2 blocks from our apartment. And the doctor, they do those magic touches and they know exactly what's happening. And then he asks me, did you drive or you walked here? I said I drove. And he's like, go quickly to the clinic, they need to take care of your wife. And the joy, so this is 3 months down the road, right? We are towards the end of the first trimester, uh, 12 weeks. So I'm confused. I'm like, what's going on? I inquire, is my wife in danger? Is the baby in danger? And the doctor is, please just go. They are waiting for you. They will take care of you. So we rush into the car, and my wife is really in pain. And I think she understood already what was going on. I don't know how fast I drove. Uh,
Mhm.
I do remember that I drove like crazy. We pull over, we enter the clinic, they rush her into a room. She's already bleeding, and I can't stop. I'm like, what's going on? Is the baby alive? Is the baby alive? And the next thing I know, the doctor, I think the doctor say that unfortunately something is happening, and my wife is in so much pain. And the next thing I remember, I see blurry. I can't really see well. I'm on the ground, and I hear a fading voice saying, "Please help him. I think he's his lack of oxygen." So instead of taking care of my wife, they are on me because I've lost, I've fainted. Um,
Yeah, you fainted, and because of everything that's going on, it became overwhelming for you. You
became
didn't know what to do. You're asking questions. You're not getting the answers
I'm not,
that you're looking for.
no.
And your wife is in distress, right? And so now they're taking care of you.
Now they're taking care of me, and I don't know what they did. I think they gave me juice, and then they laid me down like upside down so that the blood
Mm.
circulation can reach the brain. And at the same time, the other doctor is taking care of my wife. So unfortunately, we had lost our baby. Um, so we stayed in the hospital for like about 4 to 5 hours. We were discharged, and then I'm traumatized again.
Traumatized. I can only imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm traumatized. I'm like, what's going on? Why didn't we see this coming? How does it really make sense that we are in our moment? I was finally experiencing what being a father is, or at
Hmm.
least a taste of it.
Hmm.
And now the baby is gone. Now I have another fear that attacks me, saying, okay, if you try again to become parent, maybe it won't work, right? Because you lost your baby, it might not work. So I lived with this fear, but we took time to pray. We really, I think one of the foundation that carried us through till today is prayer.
Hmm.
We did everything, anything you can think of, we prayed before. I always, one of the open testimony that I give, that I saw for the first time Estelle doing, was when we got our firstborn, Kayla. She would pray before breastfeeding her, and I was really shocked. I was her husband, but I was like, what in the world? Why do you have to pray before you breastfeed your child? She was like, you know what, everything I have to proceed with prayer. So fast forward, few months later, we become pregnant again, and this time everything goes smooth. And 9 months after, we have our firstborn, Kayla. And I'm talking about it in the book, how we decide about the names. We prayed, we consulted, and we were led to call her Kayla, which is a derivative of Archangel Michael, who is like God. And Kayla brings again this unspeakable joy, unspeakable sense of responsibility, and at the same time, so much love that if I had not paid attention and intentionally being in check, I could have really deviated and bestowed all my love into my child and ignore her mother and other thing. So we have this balance in our lives, in our family, to keep each other in check. First of all, we had to pray together every morning and every night. We had to make sure that before we depart, we had to kiss each other. We had to speak into each other. So we have this check and balance check, guidelines we've put in place to make sure that I am not deviating from my responsibility as a husband, and she's
Mm-hmm.
not deviating from her responsibility as a wife. At the same time, we have this little baby that we need to take care of. So this brings another sense of joy, responsibility, and complete healing of the two fears I had: being a father, but also having lost our first pregnancy.
That's awesome. We have questions here. Let's try to answer some of them. He said, well, she says, you describe receiving fatherhood in such a beautiful way that I've never heard before. That part right there is like very true. She says, we don't really get the husband's view of this even. What was it like as a husband to go through miscarriage?
Hmm. It was traumatizing for two reasons. One, because you are powerless, you can't help, and you don't even know the right questions to ask. If you think through it, the baby is already gone, but the mother is in danger as well.
Right.
She's in distress, she's in danger. Anything could go wrong, right? And as a husband, you have this loss. You, as a husband, your seed is not going to be born, right? You are becoming a father, but your dream is being cut short, and there is this loss that you share with your wife. But at the same time, there is this person you love that is in so much pain, and you don't even know how um, painful emotionally it is to them, because they are carrying the seed, and that seed they are carrying that has already awakened so many emotions, hormones in our body, is being lost. So you have this sense of powerlessness, but also, to me, it was really a sense of appreciation and respect to the mother and the wife, that they can go in so much pain and loss and yet still find courage to want to have other babies.
Light. What does light mean to you? Because as I see and hear you speaking, the light was fading all along. I don't know if you picked that up, but so much is happening all the time. You lose, and then it's like God balances it out. Then you gain. You know, you gain something, you lose something. You gain something, you lose something. And that cycle keeps happening in your life. Now
Mhm.
you're overjoyed, you have a baby, and you just don't know what to do. Then you get pregnant a second time, you have another baby. You just don't know what to do. You're just overjoyed. God sprinkles a little sunshine to remove all of the trauma that has transpired in your life. Audience, have you been traumatized? What did you do? Someone says, I love her as you describe her. She's
Mm.
my favorite person. This is beautiful. Congratulations. Question: who was there for you?
Whew. God was there for me. And Estelle was there for me, of course. And friends were there for me. Maybe connecting to the question you asked, what is light for me?
Yes.
Um, I define light provides sight and insight, and I will connect to the fading of it. And really, if you look at it, the sight does fade in some way or another. It can fade because the light is dimmed, willingly or unwillingly. But as time goes by, even our sight, because of age, does fade. But the insight is what, to me, is the true light. And the insight is ignited by many factors. One of them is the people we meet, those people who know where to push and ignite that light, those people who help us to understand who we are and where we are going, or who we are, excuse me, who we ought to be. And at the same time, this light that provides insight based on my faith is really the Word of God and God Himself, who calls Himself the light of the world, and He calls us to be the light of the world. So when light fades away, really this is referring to the sight light that eventually does fade away. Whether we lose someone, that is a light that is fading. Well, excuse me. Well, we lose something, that is again the light that is fading. When we lose Job, that is a light that is fading. But because of the insight that has been illuminated through people we encounter, through people who have impacted our lives, in this case, through Estelle in my life, is really that light, that same light that provides what I call hope that remains. And because of that, we are enabled to pick our pieces and continue living again, and the light brightens.
So the light brightens. Audience, who is your light? Do you have light? Um, do you have a light? Who is your light in your life right now? Can you please take the time out to type their name in? This is an act of appreciation and gratitude. Uh, they said, I can't wait to purchase the book. I am in awe. This has been truly inspiring. Um, who is your light, audience? I had my mom and dad were my lights, and of course, they deceased. But I appreciate the fact that even though they deceased,
Mm,
they are still with you.
mm,
My parents are with me. I think about them. I don't think a day goes by without me thinking about my mom and dad and how they instilled such rich wisdom and knowledge, and they took their time and just showed us love and gratitude and provided for us. And I can't help but think about all the things they sacrificed and did for us. In this book, you write letters. Oh my gosh. When I came across the letters, love letters to, well, we're we're speeding because guess what? Do you see the time? Because I see the time. But we're gonna keep going, right? Because this is good. All right. So let's talk about the day, the night before and you choose what you want to say before your light fades. Share with us about that.
Yeah. So let me start from the journey to new destination and to
Yes.
final destination. So we are life has expanded. We are blessed. We are in Belgium. I've changed career, and I'm now in this new job that requires me to travel. And I've been traveling for almost 5 years within Europe. But now in 2015, I've started doing intercontinental. I'm traveling between Europe and Canada for projects. Spend 2 weeks down here and then 1 week back home. And then one day, having a conversation with my manager, we are expecting the second child. This is in summer 2015. And sorry, we already, yes, we are in summer 2015. I tell my manager, these intercontinental travels with jet lags and have a young family, I don't think it's going to work.
Mm,
And but the project is ongoing. Fast forward early 2016, I told him, you know what, this is going to be my last travel. I think we have to find a solution. I can't keep up with this. We have two young children. My wife is doing all the work by herself home because I'm traveling so much. And as I'm in the cab, I think, driving from Toronto downtown to the airport, flying back to Brussels, I get a call from my manager. He's like, you know what? Go back home, take a few weeks off, get ready, and come back or travel back to Canada with your family. Are you open to that? And the idea really is tempting. And I'm like, why not? I love Toronto. Um, I'm willing to do that, but let me consult first with my family. So hung up the phone, called my wife, and she picks. She knew I was coming back that day, and I'm like, you know what, princess? I called her princess from day one. I never called her in her name. Like, princess, I'm coming back, but get ready with the babies. We will come back all together. And she thought I was just joking. I'm like, I'm serious. We come back. And she made a joke. I remember, I don't like cold, and in Canada here, it's very hot.
freezing cold, snow everywhere. I love Canada too.
So went back. I think I took a week or two holidays, and then we travel back, four of us. This time, and this is what I call a different journey. I'm traveling to a different destination, not by myself, not
Mhm,
just with Estelle, but with our two beautiful daughters. And we're traveling not as refugees, not as
mm,
those who are escaping to find refuge in a different country, but we're traveling as expatriates. We
mm,
traveling. Um, Everything is paid, be it flight, the house we're going to live in. Everything is paid. We just moving and dropping to a different country. So this is a different journey. Little did I know that this journey is going to lead us to where the dreams we had are going to be really fulfilled and
mm,
packaged within a short period of time. This is the new country where Estelle will go back and finish her college education. this is where we will see exponential increase in our financial means. This is a place where um, we will live, I think, the most beautiful, most fulfilled 2 years of our lives.
Mhm.
These are the years where the whole life from birth to 2018 will be packaged in a very well wrapped gift bag and handed over to us. And this is yet the new destination where my light will fade physically and transition to the other side of eternity. So we lived in Toronto downtown in 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 I don't want to sound what I come across may be wrong, but we're living like diplomats. We're living for free. We have um, all you can call material possession. I'm consulting with big banks here, and I'm literally being paid to be here to eat and live. So this is allowing us to prepare for what will happen later. And then, unfortunately, in 2018, November 8th, I received a call. But let me go back to the night before. So Estelle goes back to school. She's graduating that November, and the graduation date is announced to be 26th of November. At the same time, she was working with an insurance company. A week before, I think the last week of October, the graduation date is changed
Mm.
to be November 7th.
Mm.
They don't give reason, they just announce we've decided to have the graduation on November 7th, from November 26th to November 7th. So we are excited. We went to the graduation ceremony, took pictures, we are joyful. We come back home, um, kilo celebration. We didn't want to make it a big deal because a few weeks before we had a big party. We were celebrating 9 years anniversary of our wedding, and
9 years.
9 years. And this time we decided let's just stay home with our two babies. And my younger brother was with us, and my sister-in-law, her younger sister. And then we have, this joy going around in the house. We're talking about the achievement. And then time comes to pray in the night before we go to bed. And Estelle says, I feel like, uh, you know, having around, and then everyone speaks or talks about what God has done, what he's or she's grateful for. So we start with the babies who didn't know much, and then the young sister, and then my brother, and then myself, and then Estelle turns calm, and she says, I am grateful and thankful to God that He has given me everything I have asked for. I have nothing left. God has done it all. And then we say a prayer. We head to our rooms for the night. And then in the room again, we have this husband and wife conversation. And then she drops a question. I think I think I'm mentioning that in the book as well.
Yes. Yes.
He asks me, she would call me. She said, "Honey, what would you do if I died?" And then I'm like, who asks that question? Why do you ask me that question? Because I'm gonna do nothing because you're not dying. So the question to me, I have no answer. Then she insisted. She's like, "I'm serious. I wanna know what are you going to do if I were no longer there?" And then I said, "I'm not going to do anything because you're not going anywhere. You are around, you're here." And then yeah, we we chatted around that. We said other things as well, and then we went to bed. The next morning, it was a Thursday morning. We had this routine of waking up at 6. We all meet in the living room with the babies and our siblings who were with us at that time, and pray before we all part from different activities. So that morning, I felt like I didn't have energy left. I couldn't wake up. I could not wake up. Estelle wakes up, she goes to the living room. They prayed. I can hear them because but I couldn't wake up. I felt like there was a heavy weight on my head that I couldn't really wake up. I was awake. I could hear everything they were praying about, but I couldn't wake up. So after prayer, they got ready, and then she comes back. She kissed me goodbye, and the babies, and then they they take off. She went to work around 8, I believe, 8:30 when she started. She texts me. I got at my office. Well, I love you, and may God give you strength in everything.
That's what she says.
That was the last message she sent me. And then I responded, have a great day, talk to you later. um, Got ready. I work from home by default. I was working from home back then as well. So I got up, got ready, went down to the office, and around noon, she called me again. She was taking her lunch break, and surprisingly, this time she calls me on normal call. She doesn't use FaceTime, which was really strange. I came to think about it later.
Hmm.
But what was strange is me not questioning why she didn't call on video, and me not turning the video on. So we chatted for a few minutes, and then we said goodbye. See you later in a few hours. And um, continued chatting. I texted her, but she didn't respond. Then I was like, she must be busy with client or so. And then around 3:53, I do remember, I got a call from her colleague. And when I saw the call, I didn't know where it came from, but something told me this is about Estelle. I picked it, and on the other side of the line, he said, "I'm sorry, but your wife fainted, and we have tried to resuscitate her uh, 2 times already, and she could not breathe. But now the paramedics are here. She's being rushed to the hospital. Please come
Let's
in."
pause. Let's pause. The name Estelle is a girl name of French origin, meaning star. Audience,
Yeah.
do you know what your name means? What I hear Willie saying is he was married to a star. He takes great honor in representing her tonight. And I would like for you to put a comment in the comment section to encourage him tonight. What is your best comment of encouragement? What can you say to a man who is sitting here bodaciously sharing his life with you and have written such an awesome book? You can see it in the background. When light fades, hope remains. with everything that he has shared with us, how in the world can hope remain? What in the world? Um, Victoria means victorious. Exactly. Exactly. It's so important to know what your name is, the meaning of your name. Um, the name of this book, it has great meaning and great value. It's going to help you in your journey of life because he's depicting every single thing that has happened in his life. Willie, can you say you speak five languages? Well, you speak a multiple of languages. Can you just tell us two um, languages that represent the name of this book? And if you can say more, go ahead and do that as well.
Goodness. Oh, I didn't do the homework.
You didn't do the homework.
So I speak multiple languages, and I don't want to try to translate. It might not translate literally,
Mhm.
but one of the languages may be. Um, let me not try to translate this list. I
Yes.
give it
Well,
a
then
wrong
just try.
translation
You can try.
because because my plan is to translate this book in different languages. So I don't
Right, right.
put the name out there and then I
Right, I
come up
got you.
with a
But
different name.
also, no worries. But also, you sing. All right. And I wanted to put one of your songs on, even though it's not in English. I want the audience to know who you are and what you're doing. You're working towards um, bettering yourself and bettering this book by offering it in different languages and just various things. I'm so grateful that you're here. Also, someone said they wanted an audible. So, do you think you will be able to put it in Audible?
That's the plan. I hope God will help me and I will do that hopefully next year or so.
Hmm. So we're excited about that, and I get it. You don't want to mess it up, right?
I don't want
You
to.
don't want to mess it up, and I don't blame you. So what I want to to pause right now, and I want to try to present this song, and just let them hear your heartbeat, if you will.
Thank you.
Audience, enjoy, and please tell us in the comment section what your thoughts are. Tell me if you can hear it.
Kung bonayo nako sanjolayango. Kung bonayo nako nitola. Kung bonayo nako fukamela. Kung bona Yesu nako bilase.
Como na yo nakusanjolay mo. Como na yo nakunetola. Como na yo nakufukamela. Como na Yesu nakubilase. Como na yo nakusanjolayango. Como na yo nakunetolay. Oh, como na yo nakufukamela. Como na Yesu nakubilase.
Lola. Lola elobalo kumuna Yesu bolamu bolimbisi na bolingo bisope bisoto tatoli bosatu na Yesu totatoli komo na yo toli bosatu na Yesu komo na yo nakosa jola komo na yo nakonetola hallelujah nakufukamela komo na yo nakobila se mokote apesa kakimya mokote apesa kabongo mobele yo Salina so nakusanjola yango kombo na yo nakonetola kombo na yo nakufukamela kombo na Yesu nakobila seko.
That was amazing.
By the way, this song was written by Estelle.
Wow.
It's one of her songs. And just to summarize in English, it says, your name I will worship. Your name I will trust. In heavens they sing your praise, and on earth we worship you. Your name I will adore. That's the message in the name. Yeah.
The lyrics are amazing. The team works well together. The sound blends. It's amazing and comforting, as someone in the audience said. Even though they could not understand the lyrics, it was very calming, harmonious, beautiful, and you can feel God in this song.
Thank you.
I love each voice, each dance together so beautifully and harmoniously. I can feel God in this song. She was a woman of many beautiful talents. Um, Go purchase this book if you will. Hurry, hurry. You need it in your archives.
Yeah.
You will not be the same. I guarantee you. Even the sense of what I'm walking away with from this story is so much I can't put into words, but complaining will never be on my tongue. You have depicted such a story that let us all know that life could be worse, but hope remains. Hope thou in God, no matter what happens. You know, I don't want to tell the audience what happened. I want to leave them here at this cliffhanger. It's
Yeah.
up to you. I want you to purchase the book because the details going forward will shift your life in a way in which you will never be the same. And I'm all about shifting the mindset, shifting your thoughts, shifting with inspirational affirmations. And oh my God, it's amazing. Your story is amazing. I encourage you to keep going. Don't stop.
Thank you
You,
so much.
you said something in here. You promised yourself, and you promised, I believe, your parents that you were going to be all that you could be. And from that day forward, you have been seeking to do that. And that's what I got from this book. Keep pushing, don't stop. You know, there was a time in my life when I was doing so much, and then someone brought it to my attention. Oh my God, you're doing so much. How in the world can you keep doing this? And how long will you be able to stay at this pace? And then when I took my eyes and start looking like and seeing what they were saying, I got an attitude and I stopped doing, what I learned from this book is don't ever stop. Keep moving forward, move in forward motion. And I want to say to the audience, keep moving. You got it. Everything you need inside it is inside of you. At this time, I'm going to ask Willie to say a prayer for the audience and to have his last remarks. What light do you want to shed? What are your last remarks? Take your time and say whatever you would like to say. We appreciate you for coming on the show. We appreciate you for writing this book because everybody has a book in them, but everybody's not willing to do the work. What I want to say to you is you did the work. Your generations are proud of you.
Thank
I am pleased and proud of you. Thank you, Karen Monroe, for introducing me to such a man
you
such as this that I can
so much.
share to the world and let them know you got this. Thank you, Willie.
Thank you so much, Sandra. And thank you, everyone. I'm reading the comments here. It's just humbling and encouraging, really. Um, there are two stories in the Bible that really have been some of forces behind me doing what I do. And it's interesting how Jesus was so um, what is the right word? He was unapologetic and very strict about that. If you read, there are two stories. One is when Jesus was hungry and he saw a tree that looked to be a beautiful tree, and he expected to get fruits from it. But when he got to that tree, he found it fruitless. And as a consequence, he cursed that tree. And the next day, the tree dried, he died.
Mhm.
The next story is the story of talents. This master that travels and gives talents to three workers. To one, he gives five, to another, he gives two, and the third, he gives one. And his expectations are really that they would be fruitful and multiply. The same as Jesus expected that the fruit, having those green leaves and looking healthy tree, he expected that tree to bear fruits, right? But in both cases, when the master came back, the one who had five had multiplied them, and the one who had um, two, he had multiplied them. But the servant who had one talent, he didn't do anything. He buried the talent and then gave it back as he received it. meaning this worker was not fruitful. So the moral of the story here is, I think one of the characteristic of God and Jesus, for that matter, is they love productivity.
Mhm.
They hate unproductiveness. If something is unproductive, unfruitful, it doesn't please God. If we read again the Bible from the beginning, I think that was the first commandment he gave to Adam and Eve. He said, "Go and be fruitful, multiply." So, regardless of what we go through, um, one of the promises that Jesus gave to his disciple and all that would believe in him was that in this world there will be more, we will face trials and trouble and tribulation. But he guarantees one thing, that he has overcome the world. So we should not be afraid, we should not lose hope. In other words, we should not sit idle and not be productive and fruitful. So, with that in our back, in the back of our mind, and having survived what you have survived, is a proof 100% that you will survive even whatever lies ahead. So, and I will end with this: be fruitful. And what I want to end with is, we are not, and really I want this point to come across well. We are not impacted by what happens to us, but we are impacted by the meaning we attach to the event that had happened to us. I will explain myself. My life has changed drastically, and it will never be the same to have seen my light fade physically. With that said, not knowing the impact that light had in my life and sitting idle, not acting upon, would mean that I have not really understood what that light was.
Mm.
In other words, what happens to us is not what defines the actions and the life after.
Mhm.
What meaning we attach to the events will will either um, be a ladder and a foundation upon which we build life and we continue to live, or it will be a hole in which we will sink and lose hope.
Mhm.
So, what I would tell the audience is, God has not left. And that is the last chapter I discuss in the book, based on Psalm 11, verse 3 and 4. When foundations are destroyed, what does a righteous person do? That's a powerful question. What do you do when the foundations are destroyed? And what really struck me was verse 4, where the writer goes on and say, the Lord is still in heaven on the throne, watching and observing how we behave and what actions we take. So when we question what happened to our lives and wondering whether God had left us, it's not really a wrong question, but it's not uh, the only question to ask. We are allowed to mourn, to grieve, and ask those questions and express ourselves. I talk about it in the book. But remember that the Lord is on the throne. Where he was before, he's still there. He hasn't moved place. He hasn't changed. He hasn't turned the page yet. He is still on the throne and he observes. Take heart, Grab your pieces and keep moving. Even though adversities will struck your life, life expands around them, and we have reasons to continue to live because hope remains. May God bless you, and thank you for being with us. Thank you, Sandra, again for hosting me. This is the first of many, and I look forward to what God is going to do in our lives, all of us. If you allow, I will say a short prayer, and then we we conclude. Father, thank you for the love. Thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed into our lives. Thank you for the connections. Thank you for Mama Sandra, for her family and her ministry. Thank you for this channel where we come and just talk, exchange ideas, and encourage each other. I pray for the audience, whoever is following live, and those who will see this in the replay, that you will visit them. Encourage those who are discouraged, visit and comfort those who are grieving, and give hope, ignite that inner light that hasn't really faded away. You haven't changed and you will never change. Bless everyone and show your mercy again to everyone. Remember those who are struggling from diseases, losses, and questions of this life. Enlight our path and show your face again, because I am a living testimony that God, you are good and your mercies endures forever. Bless Sandra and her ministry, and bless everyone who will come across um, this short video, rather long video we've taken. Thank you, Jesus, for saving our lives. And I am so excited and humbled for the work we have been able to do. Bless everyone and provide to those who are lacking. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the salvation. And thank you for this life we live. Thank you for the many blessings we have that we sometimes take for granted and forget that there are those who have nothing, who are praying to have what we have. Remind us again to be grateful and thankful. Bless everyone today and tomorrow. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. We praise God that He's going to bless you again
Thank you.
with another love. And that's my prayer for you.
Thank you.
And that we pray that God will bless Willie's and Estelle's children.
Thank
Um, your children are important, and um, they will be great. They will be
Sure.
great. Audience, we love and thank you. We can't be who we are without you. So we thank you for every comment. We thank you for the stars that you send. We thank you for the donations. And if you enjoyed this program tonight, I'm asking you to send in a donation. You could do it via Cash App or PayPal or any other means. It's $ Journey into Purpose. If you want to see more programs going forward, please send in a donation tonight to help us out. This is the new year coming, 2024. We made it another year. Oh my gosh, I celebrate you on this show. It's another year. This is our third year going into our fourth year, only because God told me to do this and I was going to give up, but God impressed on me not to give up. Had I given up, I wouldn't have never interviewed Les Brown. I wouldn't have never interviewed Willy from all the way in Canada. And if you would like to be spotlighted or featured on Sandra's Authors Forum, there is a link for you in the comments section. Hurry up and sign up because the new year is coming. We will play a rerun for the next 2 weeks going into the new year. But come 2024, we're going to see fresh new faces. So if that's one of you, please sign up and sign up right away. Be the first in the new year. May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. I thank you to all of my contributors, everybody that support this. Sandra's Authors Forum. I can't say thank you enough. If you would like to be a sponsor on the show, you can. We will play a 30 to 50-second commercial, and you can sponsor this show for a year if you would like, 6 months if you would like, or even a month. Thank you so much. I'm going to put you on the spot, Willie. You ready?
Sure.
Would you like to sing us off?
Oh my goodness, with this cough.
Just one line, and then I'll try to match you. All right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm actually working on this song, so let me just sing the chorus of it. It's in English, and hopefully it will be out in the coming weeks. Yeah. He gives hope to the hopeless, joy in the morning, peace like a river flowing my way. If he can give sight to the blind man, then he can light up the darkness. Jesus, our trust is in you.
I love it. I've got an angel
Woo!
watching over me. I've got an angel watching over me.
Yeah.
And my angel is there to protect me. Willie, you got an angel, and he's watching over you and the girl.
Woo! Oh, you can't sing.
Don't tell anybody. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. We love you. If you enjoyed the show, please give us a like, a heart, and a share. Good night. All right. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Oh my God.